Jesus seems to wrestle with evil, the world, and people, particularly Christians. And so I guess with that in mind, what is your take on God and spirituality? And is that too big of a question?
It's a big question. What is my take on God and spirituality? Well, it's a multifaceted answer. So, the first one would be, I guess, that I do believe in spirituality. I believe in something bigger than myself. I think I experienced that on the 1 out of 10 shows where you feel elevated and you feel kind of transposed to a different state, and that's something that's definitely bigger than me. And I think inspiration as a concept can be very spiritual, and oftentimes is for me. So that's my take on the bigger picture of what spirituality is for me personally.
Yeah, that was a broad question, and it really depends on what spirituality means for you.
I mean, that really is what it means for me, is like finding a spiritual place in art and in music, and that's how I've found spirituality for me after growing up in the church and after deciding that I'm not a what you call a Christian any longer, and building something from the ground up that's my own belief system, and a lot of that has come to I believe that we're supposed to treat others a certain way, and believe in basic human goodness. I don't know if I believe in universal truth. That's something I'm still not really sure about. But I do believe that I have certain convictions in the way that I treat other people, and I definitely don't live up to my own standards a lot of the times. But I believe in honesty. I believe in generosity. I believe in being transparent, treating others like you'd like to be treated. So those are some of my beliefs, I guess you could say, spiritually, or I prefer to not use the term religiously, but yeah.
Okay. And you kind of already talked about how that, you see that in your music.
Sure. And I mean, I grew up in a religious home, in a religious community, and I still find biblical imagery to be really powerful, and I think it's universal. I think you look at a lot of songwriting throughout history, it's traditionally does use the Bible as an analytical resource, or kind of a allegorical resource, actually. And I think that's something that has been around for a long time, and I foresee to continue being a trend in art and music, because it is, especially in the Western world, it is something that is universal to a lot of people, even if it's not a belief system that you adhere to. There is that imagery that's just like kind of a part of the American tradition, and so I think that's something that I find value in, mainly just the imagery and the storytelling, the same way I find value in Steinbeck and all those guys. So.
I noticed that you were part of the Proto-Song project, so I guess, why did you do that, and what exactly is it?
Well, Proto-Song is a really brand new nonprofit that was founded by some college students in Seattle, and they approached me with this idea that they were going to put together this music playlist with local artists donating an unreleased song for an exclusive period of time that would be put up for sale for a month for a pay what you want donation basis, and then that money would be donated to a certain charity, which we did. We actually donated it to One Day's Wages, which is another Seattle-based nonprofit. It's kind of a little bit of a train. But I think it was, or no, maybe it wasn't One Day's Wage, maybe it was Charity Water. But, so that was where the money ended up going. Yeah, so the concept was like, as an artist, you're getting your music out there to new people, along with donating money to a good cause. So that's what Proto-Song was. And I did it because I thought it made sense. I think a lot of times nonprofits don't understand that everyone needs to get something out of it. And I think as an artist, there's the opportunity to share your music with new people, because you're associated with other local artists on this playlist whose fans may not have heard you before, etc. We got like a free video out of it and things like that. So I think it's important for nonprofits to understand that, you know, artists don't, artists get approached for nonprofits all the time. And I think it's really important that the nonprofit understands that everyone has to win in the situation. You have to make it attractive to everyone involved. And I think that's something that Proto-Song was doing, and that's why I was a part of it.
Your newest EP was titled Family, correct? And it's like, what was the concept behind Family?
Well, the concepts on a lot of the songs are, some of them are actually true stories about my family. And then the title track is a song I wrote while kind of being fed up with humanity and people. But then coming to the humbling realization that I do believe we're all connected. So in a sense, we are all family, and those people that I find frustrating or disgusting or irritated with, like that's my family. So it kind of took the word family from a couple different angles within the EP. So I came up with the title after the EP was already recorded, and I just happened to notice that there were these themes throughout most of the record, and that's where that title came from.
What is your creative process like?
My creative process is different every time. It's spontaneous usually. I think there are things you can do intentionally to be in a creative headspace. I think just like as if you're exercising or training your body, I think you can train your mind. But the creative, the inspirational spark is something that to me still feels elusive, and it's not something that can be just kind of like tagged down. So I try to do my best when I'm trying to write or wanting to be in a creative headspace. Like I'll read a lot. I'll spend time by myself. I'll spend time learning other people's songs or practicing and trying different instruments and lots of different things. But I'm not incredibly good at being just a super intentional writer. I've wanted to be, and that's something that I could see being better at in the future. But for now, I just have certain tools that I try to use when I'm home and trying to write, but I don't write very much on the road. It's not something I'm very good at. There's too many distractions. So, yeah, but the process that's still a mystery to me. Yeah.
Lastly, what kind of advice do you have for aspiring songwriters?
Practice, play, get out there, write a lot. I think that's important. I think to not psych yourself out in the beginning, knowing that you're going to write a bunch of crap probably. You're going to throw away most of the material that you write in the long run. But I think to always be writing and to be growing and playing and having people in your life that will be constructively critical with you is really important. But also at the same time, people that are encouraging and that believe in you and support you, and trying to surround yourself with those people. But it's work, it's work like anything else. And like I said just a second ago, like I'm not always the best at that, but I have spent a lot of time doing that, and especially in the early couple of years of writing, I was writing a lot, and I think that's just how for me it's practice. It's you practice writing, you practice your instrument, you practice singing, you just work at it, like any other job.